The 30 Years of War between 1618 and 1648 was one of the most destructive conflicts in European history. Its roots lay in the Protestant Reformation of the 16th century, which split much of the Holy Roman Empire. The war erupted in 1618 after decades of growing tension. Ever since the Reformation began in 1517, some rulers had embraced Protestantism while others held fast to Catholicism. The Peace of Augsburg in 1555 was meant to settle things by letting rulers choose their own land's religion. Cuius Regio, eius religio, as the famous saying says. But by the early 1600s, that fragile peace was cracking apart. And that spark came from Bohemia. When the staunchly Catholic Ferdinand II was set to take the throne, the Protestant nobles boiled at the thought of losing their freedoms. In May 1618, their anger boiled over in the infamous defenestration of Prague, when they hurled two of Ferdinand's men out of the castle window. By a miracle, the victims survived, but the act lit a fire that spread across Europe like a wildfire. What began as a local rebellion quickly pulled in powerful allies: Spain, Denmark, Sweden, and even Catholic France, until a regional struggle had grown into a full-blown European war. On the ground, though, the story was far less about kings and crowns and far more about survival. Armies of mercenaries swept through villages, burning crops, looting homes, seizing what little people had. Hunger, disease stalked in the countryside, and ordinary families were driven from their homes again and again as territories shifted hands. For countless people, the 30 Years of War wasn't at all about religion or politics. It was only about enduring the years of absolute chaos and destruction. In 1625, during the chaos of the 30 Years of War, a small town in Upper Austria called Frankenburg found itself at the center of the tragedy. Most of the townspeople were Protestant, but the Catholic authorities, backed by Bavaria, tried to impose a Catholic priest on the community. To the villagers, this wasn't just about religion, it was about their way of life and their right to practice their faith. They resisted, and what began as a local defiance quickly turned into a short uprising. The Bavarian governor, Adam von Herberstorff, soon marched in to restore order. Facing a stronger military force, the townspeople couldn't hope to win. Herberstorff promised them mercy if they laid down their arms. Tired of fighting and trusting his words, they surrendered. But instead of granting them mercy, he gathered 36 men from the town, husbands, fathers, sons, and divided them into pairs. Each pair was forced to roll a dice. The stakes could not have been higher. The man who rolled the higher number would live, while the loser was executed on the spot. In this twisted game of chance, 18 men lost their lives while the rest were spared, haunted by the knowledge that the survival had come down to luck rather than justice. This brutal event became known as the Frankenburg dice game. The whole purpose of this spectacle was to terrify the population into obedience, to show them that the rebellion would only bring unimaginable consequences. But instead of breaking their spirit, it fueled outrage and bitterness. News of the cruelty spread quickly, and resentment against Bavarian rule grew stronger. Rather than silencing people, the dice game helped ignite a much larger conflict, the Upper Austrian Peasant Wars. The Frankenburg dice game is a chilling reminder that the 30 Years of War wasn't just about kings, generals, and shifting alliances. It was also about ordinary communities caught in the middle, forced to endure violence, betrayal, and even something as arbitrary as gambling with human lives. For the people of Frankenburg, history wasn't decided on the battlefield, it was decided on the roll of a dice.